Watford and Newcastle played out an equally entertaining and yet frustrating game at Vicarage Road. Both teams might have snatched all 3 points, and the visitors very much looked the favourites to do so after a dominant first 45 minutes. Starting the same team as in the Norwich away victory 7 days earlier, the Hornets never really found a rhythm in the first half. Their shape was a more pronounced 4-2-3-1 than the 4-3-3 shape, with Sissoko and Kuchka holding a little more. This allowed both fullbacks to push further forward on occasions. When playing out from the back, Watford reverted to playing short inside the 18-yard box, seemingly to no or little benefit. Troost-Ekong was less inclined to play the right-to-left diagonal long ball than in the last few games, instead playing the ball into congested areas. On the few occasions a switch was attempted, it was under-hit and allowed Newcastle to have possession, and this became the trend for the first half and allowed Newcastle to gain momentum. This momentum turned into a series of corners which once again the Hornets defended with all their outfield players brought back into the penalty area in an attempt to congest any Newcastle set pieces. Whilst the theory of denying your opponent space in the box, it does mean that when we win the ball we have no out ball, no one in space who can hold the ball up and allow teammates to move into more advanced positions to transition the ball upfield. Instead, as had worked for Watford's first goal away at Norwich, when the ball was cleared it fell inevitably to a Newcastle player who would again look to attack. In this instance the ball falls to Longstaff on the edge of the box, who has an attempt on goal. No individuals appear to be responsible for pressing the man on the ball in such circumstances, and so Longstaff had another effort before his eventual goal. On some occasions, Sissoko might push further forward, but Newcastle would typically play forward themselves and take him out of the game, resulting on this occasion in Kuchka being pulled wide and allowing Willock to run at the defence. Willock was impressive for Newcastle and moved the ball well and used clever movement to provide options for teammates and to advance the ball, something Watford were not doing well in the first 45 minutes. Newcastle's goal came from an overhit corner. Only Cleverley ran to press the ball, and with both Sir Maximan and Longstaff in support, Kiko and Sarr's supporting press was just too late, allowing the ball again to be played to Longstaff for another strike on goal. The ball was well struck, but Foster would expect to get a stronger hand to the ball. Instead, seeming to opt to push the ball wide simply failed, and the Hornets were a goal down, and Newcastle were good value for it. Newcastle's Achilles heel was the mismatch of Sarr and Ritchie. Ritchie is not a natural left-back blessed with real pace, and resorted to a rugby-style tackle to stop the Senegalese winger from getting away. It was strange, therefore, that the Hornets did not look to give the ball to Sarr more in order to run at the former Bournemouth player. Here, for example, with Cleverley in a good position following a ball from Rose, Cleverley opts to shoot from long range and is crowded out. Shortly after, Sarr could be seen to come looking for the ball in deep and central areas, which is hardly where he can do the most damage. The half finished with Watford fortunate for only a 1-goal deficit, as a woefully judged and underhit back pass by Cathcart sent St Maximan in on goal. The fact that the score remained the same had less to do with Foster and more to do with luck, as with an open goal presented, a stretching Longstaff struck over the bar. Cleverley, who had taken a blow to the head from Darlow, was replaced by Ozan Tufan, who replaced him in the advanced midfielder role. The Turk had a very positive impact on the game after an initial heavy-handed welcome to the Premier League by Isaac Hayden. As opposed to Cleverley's industry and tackling, Tufan concentrated on being the player who was always available for a pass, and in doing so, pulled Watford further up the pitch and further into the game. He provides an awareness and improved decision-making that was simply not there in the first half, and pulled Newcastle defenders into areas that they didn't want to go before releasing the ball to a teammate in space, and he kept doing it. In this position in the first half, we would have tried and failed to play through that congested area of Newcastle players. Instead, Tufan has the good judgment to pull in field in space, and Sissoko has the good vision to be able to find him. Before the ball arrives, Tufan is surveying the pitch, so he has already made the decision to drive up the pitch with the ball before passing the ball to a teammate. He continued to find space by doing what others did not. Here, with a break on, he checks his run to provide the ball carrier with another passing option. This was simple but hugely effective and allowed Watford to get a hold of the game, and Watford were suddenly in the ascendancy. Kuchka was replaced by João Pedro, who played in the hole, and Tufan was moved back to a deep playing midfield position alongside Sissoko. Our forward play stuttered, and Newcastle had a 10 to 15 minute period of greater control from there once more. Foster made up for any error associated with the goal with a series of fine saves before Watford won a corner rather against the run of play. Danny Rose's corner was flicked on at the near post by Joshua King, and Sarr ghosted in at the far post, burying the header. Simple and beautiful. Xisco's in-game management has been voiced as a concern, or a cause for concern. Whether he realised what he had done 15 minutes earlier or not, that it was causing us issues, he worked pretty quick to correct it. Tufan went back to his more influential kind of role in the hole, and Etebo sat in deep midfield alongside Sissoko. Once again, we had a player making himself available with awareness of what was going on around him, and in this case releasing Sarr in behind the Geordie backline. With Watford pushing for a winner, concerns after Stoke last Tuesday will have been on many's minds, but not Danny Rose, as he got the better of Murphy, who seemed intent on riding him like a pony, and played the ball to João Pedro, who in turn fed Sissoko. His shot was spilled and the rebound put away by Josh King, but eventually ruled out by VAR. The referee, who had a truly appalling game for both sides, he'd signalled initially that it was a goal, but before turning round to then indicate offside. The Newcastle fans will have had their hearts in their mouths, and the Watford fans simply just had another reason to dislike this guy after the ref's lack of picking up on Newcastle and especially keeper Barlow's time waste. The end-to-end continued with little thought of tactics, as the game was simply wide open by this point. Murphy should have settled it when clear through against Foster, but tried to be too clever and lift the ball and made a complete hash of it. Finally, João Pedro, who looked far more comfortable on the left, played a cross that King was just unable to quite reach to at the far post. Summary. The playing out short from goal kicks appears to be a strategy, but with absolutely no end in mind, and no benefit that we've seen thus far. Playing more directly and setting up for second balls seems a better option, especially with Foster's kicking distance. Ozan Tufan provided a real conduit when moving the ball forward, and it was an appearance reminiscent of Hughes when he was moved to that deep midfield role last season. All things suddenly flowed better. Two players holding in midfield allowed Rose to get forward far more, and this will pay dividends, and were it not for VAR, it may have done already. Sierralta being out is odd. He is the dominant aerial force, and Cathcart's unassured performance must surely put pressure on Xisco to bring back in the Chilean. Fail long. Err on the side of overhitting a pass, especially from deep. The result of an underhit ball are often catastrophic, whereas an overhit ball typically will result in a dead ball situation with the ball going out for a goal kick or a throw-in, which we can get and position ourselves behind to defend. An underhit pass causes us real defensive problems.